If you've played Starfield, you've probably seen this screen, and while traits are technically optional, you can play without any traits at all, you'd be doing yourself a huge disservice by not selecting any because you'd be missing out on some cool stuff. So I'm going to go over all 17 traits in this game, which ones are the best, and which ones you should avoid. There are traits that conflict with each other. For example, you can't be an extrovert and introvert at the same time, and you can only pick one religion and or faction trait. So let's start with alien DNA. Increased max health and endurance, but healing items and food are less effective. Dream Home gives you a house right off the bat, but it gives you a big mortgage to pay. If you want to know where your dream home is, along with what it looks like, I've linked a video which you can watch later. Here's the interesting thing. You don't have to pay the mortgage. Despite the fact that it says you have to pay weekly, you don't pay it unless you want to go inside your house. If you miss a payment, don't worry, there's no eviction. Instead, you'll be locked out of the house until you make an interest-only payment of 500 credits for 1 week access, or you pay off your mortgage. Empaths. If you feel like you're not judged enough in real life, you cannot be judged by your companions in Starfield. I mean, they'll always judge you, but now with this trait, they'll have actual consequences. Extrovert allows you to sprint and jump more if you're adventuring with human companions, and reduces your endurance if you're adventuring alone. Note the human part. That means robots like Vasco doesn't count. Freestar Collective Settler is pretty self-explanatory. You'll get more stuff with the Freestar Collective. Hero Worship gives you an adoring fan. He will first show up after starting the Old Neighborhood mission. I've only seen him show up after taking a shuttle to the spaceport. You can hire him as a companion or as a part of your crew, and he'll give you gifts from time to time. But he's also written to be extra annoying. Introvert is the opposite of extrovert. Kid Stuff gives you parents, which I think is a first for Bethesda RPGs, and that's pretty rare in video games in general. If you want to know how to find your parents, I've linked a video which you can watch later. You have to give them some of your credits every week, but you have access to their home and can store stuff there. Get unique dialogue with your parents, and you'll get unique gifts from them from time to time. One of which I'll just say is pretty significant. Fun fact, the trait was originally 10% of your money, before they lowered it to 2%. Another fun fact is that your parents' appearance will change depending on how you created your character. Neon Street Rat, another faction trait, you'll get more stuff from missions in Neon. Both Raised Enlightened and Raised Universal are religious traits that gives you access to their own special chests along with their unique dialogue. If you want to know where it is and what's inside them, I've linked both videos which you can watch later. Serpent's Embrace is the only religion that doesn't give you free stuff. Instead, you get temporary buffs to health and oxygen after grav jumping, and debuffs to those stats if you don't grav jump after a certain amount of time. So this trait is best suited for people who like to explore space. It'll also give you unique dialogue for some of the House Varun members, and for one of the companions you can hire in the game, which will make her like you more. Space gives you a health and oxygen buff when you're in space, and a debuff when you're not. Taskmaster seems suited for players who want to do a lot of ship-to-ship combat, provided they know how to make money. Terra Firma is basically the opposite of space. The United Colonies native, another faction trait, gives you more rewards from United Colonies missions. Wanted, suited for those who love fighting and getting free stuff from bounty hunters, you also get the added bonus of doing more damage when you're low health. All of these traits can be removed, but you can't respec, change, or add different traits mid-game. These traits can be removed by going to a medical facility and have them surgically removed for 10,000 credits. These traits can be removed by talking to a specific faction or religious NPC and telling them you don't believe anymore. They'll try to persuade you to think otherwise, but if you persist, they'll grant your request. Dream Home can be removed by letting the bank foreclose your property. Extrovert and Introvert can be removed by talking to Andy Singh at the House of the Enlightened. Hero Worship can be removed by removing your fan from the crew, persuade him to leave, or killing him. Kid Stuff can be removed by telling your parents you don't want to give them money anymore. They'll be heartbroken, and you'll never see them again. Taskmaster can be removed by talking to Keeper Aquilus at the Sanctum Universum. Wanted can be removed by speaking to a Tracker Alliance agent and paying 3,000 credits to remove your bounty. Now let's start with the traits I would avoid. If you want to be a model citizen that can do no wrong, then Empaths might be suitable for you. But for me personally, I like to steal, I like to pickpocket, I like to do shady stuff that companions like Sarah probably wouldn't like. And if you're like me and want to do those things, then steer clear of empaths. Introvert is another trait I'd avoid. For me, companions are too useful. They help me in combat, carry my stuff, and have unique dialogue choices that can help in certain situations. I know I can use Vasco, but sometimes I like some variety in dialogue. It's also kind of funny that you can be both an empath and an introvert. Those two don't make a productive combination. Now for traits that I believe are the best. Even though alien DNA gives you a debuff to heals and food, if it's your first time playing, you probably wouldn't even notice it. And if not, you can still mitigate it by leveling your medical and nutrition skills. And the extra health and oxygen is so worth it. I'd recommend any faction allegiance traits, because you're gonna get better rewards from doing missions as long as you're not committing crimes, or at least not get caught committing crimes in territories of other factions. The increased bounty will be a non-factor. Extrovert is very useful if you want to adventure with human companions, and the extra stamina will come in handy. Hero worship can be very useful if you can tolerate his existence, but if he becomes too annoying for you, you can probably just assign him to a random part of the ship or a random outpost you'll never visit, and he won't bother you again. The rest are a matter of personal preference and playstyle. Personally, I like kid stuff. I can tolerate the 2% payments for the benefits, but I can see how this could add up to a lot of money for some people. I also like Dream Home. The mortgage is very expensive, but you can act as though your house doesn't exist, at least until you want to go inside your house. And, not gonna lie, I think the house is pretty cool, and as someone who loved playing The Sims, I'd probably enjoy decorating it once I get the funds. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it. If there's a trait that you think is important, useful, or you liked a lot, and I haven't mentioned it, or if you disagree with my recommendations, let me know in the comments down below. Once you've picked your traits and started your adventure in Starfield, you're gonna encounter some locked containers, and luckily, I have a video that will help you lockpick those containers, which you can watch right here.